You walk into a room, a party, the first day at a new job, a conference, and that familiar cold anxiety hits you. Do I belong here? Am I smart enough, successful enough, good enough to sit at the table? You scan the room, and everyone else seems so confident, so at ease. Your social media feed is a 24/7 highlight reel of everyone else sitting in a place of honor. It's a silent, exhausting competition where we're all just trying to prove we deserve our seat. But what if the ancient secret to overcoming this crushing anxiety isn't to fight harder for a better seat, but to intentionally choose the last one? This feeling has a name: imposter syndrome. It's the deep, nagging fear that you're a fraud, and at any moment, you're going to be exposed. And our modern world is the perfect breeding ground for it. We live in the age of the curated self. Our professional lives are polished on LinkedIn. Our personal lives are filtered on Instagram. We are constantly performing, constantly managing our public image, constantly jockeying for a better position at this massive digital banquet. This creates a profound split within us. There's the person we project, confident, successful, put together. And then there's the person we are when we're alone, the one who knows our own doubts, our fears, our messy, unshareable realities. The anxiety comes from the gap between those two selves. We're terrified someone will see that gap, point to us, and say, "Hey, you don't belong in that seat. Move down." That public moment of embarrassment is one of our deepest social fears. We spend so much energy trying to secure our place of honor, believing that if we can just get that promotion, that recognition, that certain number of followers, then the imposter feeling will finally go away. But it never does. Why? Because we're playing the game on the wrong board. What if I told you there's a 2,000-year-old story that contains a profound psychological strategy, a spiritual technology even, for dismantling imposter syndrome from the inside out? It's not about positive affirmations or faking it till you make it. It's a radical and counterintuitive path to authentic, unshakable self-worth. It's found in a parable told at a dinner party, recorded in the Gospel of Luke. The story is simple. Jesus is at a dinner at the home of a prominent leader, and he notices how all the guests are rushing to grab the best seats, the places of honor. Seeing this, he tells them a parable. He says, "When you're invited to a wedding banquet, don't take the best seat. Because what if someone more distinguished than you arrives? The host will come and say, 'Give this person your seat,' and you'll be humiliated as you have to move to the very last place. Instead," he advises, "when you are invited, go and take the lowest place. That way, when the host comes, he will say to you, 'My friend, move up to a higher position.' Then you will be honored in front of everyone." And he concludes with this powerful line, "For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, but the one who humbles himself will be exalted." Now, on the surface, this sounds like a nice lesson in etiquette. Be humble, don't be arrogant. But if we look at this story through the lens of depth psychology, particularly the work of Carl Jung, it transforms from a simple moral lesson into a brilliant map of the human psyche. This isn't about social manners. It's a guide to achieving psychological wholeness. Let's break this down. Jung gave us a powerful vocabulary to understand our inner world, and 3 concepts are key here: the persona, the shadow, and the self. First, the persona. The persona is your social mask. It's your resume, your job title, your curated online profile. It's the version of you that you present to the world to be acceptable, to fit in, and to be successful. There's nothing inherently wrong with the persona. We all need one to function in society. The problem arises when we over-identify with it, when we believe that our mask is our true face. The guests scrambling for the places of honor are completely identified with their personas. Their entire sense of worth is external. It depends on their rank, their status, their public perception. The horror of being asked to move down is the horror of the persona being publicly shattered. It's the fear that if the mask is removed, what's underneath will be seen as worthless. This is the very engine of imposter syndrome. We're constantly terrified that our carefully constructed persona won't hold up to scrutiny. Now, what about that strange advice to choose the lowest seat? This brings us to Jung's second, and perhaps most crucial, concept: the shadow. The shadow is everything within you that you've repressed, denied, or disowned. It's not necessarily evil, it's just the parts of you that your conscious mind and your persona have deemed unacceptable. It's your insecurities, your vulnerabilities, your perceived failures, your secret shames, your cringy memories. It's everything you'd never post on Instagram. It is the lowest place within your own psyche. Our society tells us to hide the shadow, to pretend it doesn't exist. We spend our lives running from that lowest seat, trying to prove we're better than that. But this story offers a radical alternative. It says, walk there voluntarily. Choosing the lowest seat is a profound psychological act. It's a conscious decision to stop pretending. It is to say, I am not just my highlight reel. I am also my doubts. I am my past mistakes. I am my insecurities. And I am not afraid to sit with them. This isn't self-pity or false modesty. It is an act of radical self-acceptance. It's the beginning of what Jungians call shadow integration. When you willingly take the lowest seat, you short-circuit the entire system of social anxiety. The worst thing you fear, being humbled, being seen as less than, you've already done it yourself, on your own terms. No one can threaten you with humiliation when you have already embraced your own humility. The fear of being found out loses its power when you are no longer hiding. Suddenly, you are not an imposter. You are just whole. You are a complete person, light and shadow, and you are okay with it. This is the foundation of true, unshakable confidence. It doesn't come from a flawless persona. It comes from integrating your imperfect shadow. But the story doesn't end there. The most beautiful part is what happens next. The host comes and says, "My friend, move up higher." Who is this host? In the Jungian model, the host represents the self. The self is the totality of your psyche, conscious and unconscious. It is your true, authentic core. It is the wise, regulating center within you that knows your real worth. The journey of life, what Jung called individuation, is the process of getting the ego, our conscious I, to align with the self. Notice who does the exalting. It's not you. It's not your ego fighting for status. It's the host, the self. The story tells us that true exaltation, true self-worth, is not something you can grab for yourself by puffing up your persona. It is a gift bestowed upon you by your own authentic core after you have done the courageous work of embracing your shadow. When you stop trying to be impressive, you become authentically whole. And it is this wholeness, this integration, that the self recognizes and honors. You are moved to a higher place not in a social hierarchy, but in your own consciousness. You move into a state of greater self-awareness, integrity, and inner peace. This brings us to the second, often overlooked part of the story. Jesus then turns to the host himself and gives even stranger advice. He says, when you give a banquet, don't invite your friends or your family or your rich neighbors, the people who can pay you back. Instead, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind. You will be blessed because they cannot repay you. Again, this is not just a lesson in charity. It is a precise psychological instruction. The banquet is your own consciousness. The people you invite are the parts of yourself you pay attention to. Who are your rich neighbors? They are the successful, validated parts of your psyche, your talents, your strengths, your proudest achievements. We love inviting them to the banquet of our mind. We ruminate on our successes, we polish our persona. But who are the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind? Psychologically, they are the archetypes of your own inner shadow. They are the neglected, wounded, and undeveloped parts of yourself. The poor part that feels inadequate. The crippled part that feels broken from past trauma. The lame part that can't seem to keep up. The blind part that stumbles in confusion and doesn't know the way forward. The instruction is to turn your attention away from the parts of you that already feel validated and to intentionally invite these marginalized, wounded parts of your own soul to the table. This is the practical work of shadow integration. It means sitting with your loneliness. It means listening to your anxiety instead of just trying to numb it. It means having compassion for the part of you that feels like a failure. You bring them into the light of your awareness, not to be judged, but to be nourished, to be cared for. And the text says your blessing is that they cannot repay you. This is critical. You do this work not to get a reward, not to build a better persona, but as an act of unconditional self-love. And in that act, you become whole. You are repaid not with social status, but with something far more valuable: integration, authenticity, and a profound connection to the self. So what does this ancient story teach us, right here, right now, in our world of digital anxiety and crushing self-doubt? It gives us a powerful three-step path to move from the fear of being an imposter to the freedom of being authentic. First, recognize your persona. Understand that your job title, your social media presence, your collection of achievements, that is not the real you. It is a necessary mask, but it is not your face. See the desperate scramble for the seats of honor for what it is: an exhausting and ultimately unfulfilling game driven by the ego. Second, voluntarily choose the lowest seat. This is the courageous act of shadow work. It means turning towards your imperfections, not away from them. How do you do this practically? It might mean admitting "I don't know" in a meeting instead of bluffing. It might mean sharing a struggle with a trusted friend instead of only projecting success. It means looking in the mirror and having compassion for the person you see, with all their flaws and fears. It is the daily practice of choosing authenticity over performance. Third, invite the outcasts to your table. Carve out time to listen to the neglected parts of yourself. What is your anxiety trying to tell you? What old wound is that feeling of not enoughness really connected to? Maybe this looks like journaling. Maybe it's meditation. Maybe it's talking to a therapist. But it is the conscious act of turning your loving attention inward, to the parts of you that need it most. This path is the exact opposite of what our culture preaches. It is a quiet rebellion against the tyranny of perfectionism. It is the discovery that true, unshakable confidence is a paradox. It is found not in exalting yourself, but in having the courage to humble yourself. Not in the curation of a perfect life, but in the integration of a whole one. The promise of this ancient wisdom is not that you will become the most important person in the room. The promise is infinitely better. It's that you will finally stop caring about where you rank. You will find that the real place of honor is not a seat at a table, but a state of peace within your own soul. It is the quiet, powerful joy that comes when the host within you, your true self, looks at all the integrated parts of you, light and shadow, and says, "My friend, you belong. Welcome home."